Pain and sciatica. That's the topic. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and we're talking about chocolate because chocolate actually will help your back pain and your sciatica. So we'll talk a little bit about why that happens and what you need to know about chocolate to make the right decisions. But truly, this is about decreasing inflammation in your spine. When you have a back problem, very often you'll have inflammation in and around the disc and or in and around the nerve. So part of why you take anti-inflammatory medicine, which I'm not recommending for you, but the reason you take that is to decrease the inflammation around the joints. So anti-inflammatory foods are what we're talking about here. There are very specific foods that create inflammation and very specific foods that will decrease inflammation. One of the better ones for decreasing inflammation is omega-3 fatty acids. I recommend that highly as well, but I wouldn't put that with your chocolate because it won't taste very good because that comes from fish. Typical disc looks like this. As the disc breaks down, which is a degenerated disc, it kind of gets thinner, and as it gets thinner, you get inflammation on the annulus, and you get inflammation inside the disc. You get inflammation in the nucleus, but you also get inflammation along the end plate of the vertebrae. This will cause back pain. Degenerated discs will cause back pain. As the discs degenerate, you start to develop a little arthritis. That will start to develop some back pain. Herniated discs, inflammation in and around the annulus because the disc is breaking down causes inflammation around the nerve. The inflammatory process around the nerve will cause the sciatica. Stenosis is another reason that you have inflammation. So the key when you have very specific back problems is the inflammation. Our goal is to decrease inflammation. Now, there's a very specific type of chocolate that will decrease inflammation. And actually one of them will increase inflammation, so it's important that you know the difference. Now, this is all about foods that cause inflammation and foods that decrease inflammation. I have a list here, but I'm going to go through a couple of anti-inflammatory foods that I recommend. Almonds are very good. Avocados, beets, black cherries, blackberries, blueberries, celery seeds, curry is a good one. Fiber, garlic, ginger, green tea. There's a list here. You can get these lists. We'll put a list in the link for the video. But things that cause inflammation. Well, here's one that I really like. Coffee in little amounts will decrease inflammation. Coffee in too much will increase inflammation. So a little bit of coffee will decrease. I hope I'm doing this right. A little bit of coffee will decrease inflammation. So a little bit of coffee is good. Too much coffee increases inflammation. But here's the point. Processed foods, sugars, sodas, junk food, these all increase inflammation. So if you have one of these problems and you continue to eat foods that are highly inflammatory, because specific foods will increase inflammation, specific foods will decrease inflammation. If you eat the foods that are highly inflammatory, very often this will make your back pain worse. If you drink a lot of soda, with a lot of sugar, a lot of processed foods, a lot of refined wheats, white flour is highly inflammatory. Gluten is highly inflammatory. So when you're consuming large amounts of inflammatory foods, you're going to make your back pain worse. But if you can incorporate more foods that are anti-inflammatory, you'll start to feel better. And one of the foods is dark chocolate. Milk chocolate will not solve your problem. Why? Because milk chocolate has a lot of sugar. So dark chocolate, by its very nature, has less sugar. And with less sugar, it's going to be better for you, but it has a lot of antioxidants and a lot of anti-inflammatories. So if you have some dark chocolate, that's good. But they've also found out that it's good for your heart. They did a study and they found out that it lowers the risk of heart attack and stroke. But it's not really something you want to consume every single day. The point of all this is some foods are anti-inflammatory and some foods are pro-inflammatory, meaning they cause inflammation. Dark chocolate is very high in cacao, which is the seed that chocolate comes from. It's cacao. Believe it or not, white chocolate, there is no cacao, period. There's no chocolate in white chocolate. That's a little misnomer, okay? So don't believe what they're saying here. This is not anti-inflammatory. This will cause you inflammation because first of all, there's no chocolate in it, and it's all sugar. Milk chocolate contains lots of sugar. There is some cacao or cocoa in milk chocolate, but usually it's above about 60 to 70% cocoa ingredient to make it dark chocolate. Okay, and the higher the content of cacao, the more anti-inflammatory properties, but the higher the content, it doesn't taste very good. So if you go 100% dark chocolate, it's really bitter and there's very, very, very little sugar. At about 70 to 80% is where you want to be for your dark chocolate. I hope this was helpful. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day, so if you're going to buy chocolate, buy some dark chocolate. Just remember, if you've got a disc problem, we can help your disc problem. Okay? If you like chocolate, eat the dark chocolate. If you like what you hear, I want you to like our Facebook page and I want you to share this information with your friends and family. We can solve problems in the back that nobody else can. Our primary tool is not chocolate, but we're not against dark chocolate, just for the record. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter. Again, I don't want to make this more confusing. Some foods make inflammation worse, some make it better. Dark chocolate actually makes it better. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we have a tip. It's how to get out of bed, which is really important when you have back pain. And be safe. And we're going to talk a little bit about the study again tomorrow and then on Wednesday. So I'm out. Have a good night. Happy Valentine's Day. Eat dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. Too much sugar, not good for your back. So avoid it.